Welcome everybody to Double Play CLE. Paul here alongside Jay as the season continues for your Cleveland Guardians. It is the push to 500 at this point. It just compared to where we were last year, this team seems a starkly different team from what we were dealing with last year and all of the excitement and energy. A lot of vitriol and a lot of angry fans on social media about the 2023 Guardians.
Well, um, I don't know what to say. That's going to happen. You're included in that bunch. You talk to Clevelanders, and it's almost like they wish for their team to fail. We have a group of young men. So there's going to be some slumps. There's going to be some stuff to get through. Um, what were we last year at this time? I'm sure you can tell me that. What were we at All-Star break?
I'm sure I can find that real quickly while you keep talking here.
Um, but I don't think we were too far off from this last year. If you're thinking the last year,
40,
who
we were 46 and 26 at the All-Star break last year. Oh, wait, that's after the All-Star break. Sorry.
I was gonna say there's no damn way in hell we were 46 and
Sorry,
26.
sorry. I misread that one. I misread that one. My bad. Hang on. 46 and 44 actually. Before the
That
April
sounds
to yeah,
sounds about right. So 2 games above 500.
and that's the problem. You got to be above 500 to be good in Major League Baseball.
Eh.
That's
You
something
got
that
to
I have
be
always
you
preached.
got you got to be 1 game above 500 to be first in the AL Central. That's
Let
all I'm worried about.
let me put this at you. You want to talk about, as you asked, the record before the All-Star break last year. You want to know the two teams that were at 500 at the All-Star break last year?
The White Sox,
That was one of them.
the Twins.
The Baltimore Orioles,
Oh,
who
I'm
had
sorry. I
an
thought you were just talking about our division.
no, just in general. And they both collapsed upon themselves like, well, Beetlejuice will do at some point in some distant future. I don't want to be 500. I got to be better than 500. I got to be good to put together the run that I need that gets me to the World Series. Because in the postseason, you can get lucky on 1 or 2 games. You don't get lucky in 7 game series. You don't get lucky in 5 game series.
I tend to disagree with that a little bit, but I
You
do see
tend to
where you're
disagree with
coming
everything
from.
I say.
I sure can. I see where I do understand it though, and I do also partially agree. I don't know. I think we got a lot of fixing to do. Um, there's a lot of concerns with Tito and the calls that are being made. He seems very unserious. I mean, just for the simple fact that as
He's not wearing
why did Miles Straw take the last at bat today?
he's not wearing clown makeup on the in the dugout.
Why did
I'm
Miles Straw take the last at bat today?
You would have to ask Tito about that.
Okay, why
Eh,
would you have Miles Straw take the last at bat today?
Who was batting at the time?
What do you mean?
Who was he pinch hit? Was it a pinch hit situation or was he the
No,
last
that's
batter?
it was the last bat in the bottom of the 10th.
Okay, so that's where you're getting it. Got it. Who else would you choose?
I don't know, Will Brennan.
You trust Will Brennan?
You don't trust I trust Will Brennan more than I trust Miles Straw, unfortunately. If I'm talking about to get us like a big hit, which Straw did have one in the game the night before, and I am a big Straw advocate. I don't want anyone to misconstrue that, but he's not our hitter. So that's not, I'll put David Fry back in. I don't know. Why was
The
David
hero
Fry
of
in right?
Saturday.
Why was David Fry in right field? No, no, he was not the hero. That's We can jump around and celebrate, and that's great. I love a win. I don't care how we win. I don't care what happens. However, we're not just going to forget the fact that the reason they were on the board at all was because he couldn't catch a damn ball.
Okay. So you are on the non-Tito bandwagon, which
That's
is
not true. That's
well,
not true. I'm
that
just I
well,
got I
you
got I got questions, bro. Well, like, what are
okay.
you doing? Like, that's where I'm at. Like,
Let me state something that will put your mind at ease. Terry Francona is the winningest manager in Cleveland baseball history
oh my
at
God.
882 wins. Second place is nearly 50 wins behind him and is also in the Hall of Fame.
Tenure. Tenure. That proves me nothing. Like, I love it. I get it. That proves me nothing.
And he is over 500 for his win percentage. And he's only had 14 career ejections in 11 years, which is pretty damn impressive for us. What I'm going to say is this. I suffered through several of the managers on this list who were very low on this list, including
How
Manny
about
Acta, Charlie Manuel, Eric Wedge, Joel
Rocco
Skinner.
Baldelli's probably had 14 ejections this season.
I'm kind of curious about that one. I might look that. I'm not even. I don't want to reveal too much here, but on my tablet, as you said, Rocco Baldelli ejections, my tablet brought up that he just got ejected from a game.
He gets I follow Twitter a lot, and I watch the what people are
That's
talking about
great.
and stuff. And Twins fans do not really like him that much. He gets ejected every day. I mean, I was watching one game that was on TV. There was a strike, and it was a clear strike, and the dude was like yelling and screaming. Like the batter wasn't even that upset. I'm like, dude, it was a strike. I don't know what you want. Anyway,
But my point is this. If Terry Francona decided he wanted to run 9 catchers out there, I would say, yeah, okay, that's a little bit weird, but you do have seniority. You've been doing this before, and oh yeah, you did win the World Series with arguably one of the greatest teams in the history of baseball, the 2004 Boston Red Sox. So I believe in Tito Francona. Whatever he decides to do, I'm going to back him because he's proven that he can get it done. I'm looking at the list of potential candidates that could replace him, and not a single one of them is going to take you to the World Series. So I don't know what you
well,
guys are
apparently
expecting
neither
out
is
there.
Tito.
I would rather have the greatest manager in Cleveland history stay than have this fan base run him out of town. Knock it the fuck off.
Well, I mean, two things I have to add to everything you just said there is Tito will also not lead us to a World Series.
He took us to the 2016 World Series, and that team wasn't even good enough to get there.
And embarrassingly lost
He
in what is
lost
forever
because
a meme.
MLB decided we needed a rain delay in a game that clearly didn't need a rain delay. MLB decided they wanted the Chicago Cubs to win the World Series that year, and they got what they wanted. That's what happened. Case closed on that. Number two, whew, that worked me up a little bit because I don't like talking about 2016 because it pisses me off. Number two, he has the longest winning streak in American League Baseball history at, I think, 21 or 22 games now.
Pretty sure it
That
was
was,
two.
I think it was
Um,
22, but it was so long that I lost track of it because it never ended. And you want to
my
take
sec
that guy and run him out of here on a rail car.
my
That's the
second
reason
point
why Cleveland sucks.
my second point that I was going to make was that we did, however, win that game that David Fry was put in right field because of David Fry. Uh, you know, other scores and stuff put aside. So I do tend to just try and because there is something to baseball with you got to try something different. You got to mix stuff up, and guess what? You're not always going to win those games where you try stuff different. Because that's how it goes. That's what trying something different is. It's trying something different. Doesn't mean it's going to work, but we're going to try it. Arias, is it Arias? Arias? How do you say his name?
I think
Gabriel
it's Gabriel Arias.
Arias. Still couldn't hit left-handed pitchers. However, while everyone complained about David Fry, the same thing the next night, he could hit right-handed pitching. So, maybe there is something more to what's going on, because that was the whole complaint. And If you watch the game, you watch the highlights, the ball he dropped should be made by an MLB outfielder 99% of the time. That is a fact. However, the sun was beaming. He's barely ever played the position, and it was a beamer right at him. I don't know if you've seen it or not, but it wasn't a. I'm waiting for it. It was
It was an Adam.
It came right at him. Yeah. So
it was same thing as what happened to Nick Castellanos with the Philadelphia Phillies. I think that same day, where he had one that was hit right at him. He needed to come in a little bit to make the play, dropped it, led to the game-winning run against Philadelphia. It happens. Nobody's perfect.
I am a big fan of atoning for your sins.
Yes.
And David Fry completely washed that away in the same game. So if you can make up for your sins in the same game and give me a win out of it, then it is what it is. Don't drop that ball again. And he didn't. He actually made a pretty decent catch like the next couple innings after that. It was like running, it was almost out or something like that. And he slid and caught it, something like that. However, a lot of other people who probably what bothers me about a lot of other people that are on social media complaining about Tito or the lineups, what the hell are we doing, is they don't pay they don't pay close enough attention to what's also going on, because he's probably out there because Will Brennan's probably still nursing his arm from the other night is what I'm assuming. I don't know I don't know if you know that or not, but he made that catch the other night and he like strained his arm and he actually came out of that game. So I'm assuming he pinch hit a game or two ago, but other than that, he hasn't been playing. So yeah, he's probably still nursing his arm, which that would answer your question as to why David Fry was probably out there in right field. For anyone who doesn't know, that's probably what it is. Same thing goes, you want to trust in Tito. Well, the same thing goes in Shane Bieber, because Tito, as well as Hammy, both say don't go on Shane Bieber. He's the only consistent thing we got. The dude had 8. I know what you're going to say. The dude had 8 Ks through, what was it, 5 innings, 6 innings? I was listening to that game. They had Tim Herron in the bullpen before that inning even started. Something was wrong with Bieber, whether he was hurt, whether he was feeling off, something, because the dude was absolutely K'ing people up. He was carving people left and right. And something happened, and he gave up a homer. I don't think that means we trade him, especially now that we don't know what's going on with Tristan McKenzie.
Yeah, and I think that also plays into some of the decision-making for Tito. He was planning on having 2 aces at the start of his season, and now he's had to scramble this team up to try to make this happen, and there's still a somehow competitive team in the weakest division in baseball.
And our great prospect that we were waiting on got his ass carved up by the Oakland A's. I don't know if anyone else is just watching that and just not like, oh, we can't base it on a guy's first outing. Like, listen, I get that. But he got homered and rocked on by the Oakland A's. We still won that game, but it was not without trial and tribulation.
Gavin Williams is who you're referring to, and Gavin had an okay start, but I think with all the fanfare attached to Gavin Williams, who I believe at the time is the number 1 prospect in the Cleveland Guardians farm system, you got to deliver. And he really didn't. I heard he had something like 50 or 60 members of his family and friends in attendance. And okay, I will grant you first game jitters. That's fine. I'm not expecting you to throw a no-hitter. But if you're the number 1 prospect and that's the best you're giving me, I'm probably selling off the rest of the farm system because we did something wrong.
Yeah, I can't remember exactly how it went. I don't know if you do, but he like walked 2 people and then gave up the home run or something like that, if I'm not mistaken, off of like bad pitch sequences, like 4 or 5 pitches. I could be wrong, but it wasn't good. I did, however, bet on the Guardians to win that game, and we did win. So
I'm so proud of you for that. Going back to the Bieber thing real quickly, Bieber, 5 innings, 5 hits, 8 Ks, 2 walks, 4 earned, and 1 home run. He's actually lost his last 2 starts, the Arizona game a week prior. It's been kind of frustrating because he's given you about 5 strikeouts a start. There was the game against Boston, which we lost, where he only had 2 strikeouts. My concern is I'm looking at his last 5 games. 5 innings, 7 1/3, 7, 5 2/3, 4. That is 3 starts under 6 innings from your ace. That's a red flag for me. And I can't be the only one who's looking at that with a little bit of concern. I'm telling you, this is not the same guy. I understand the love that might be attached to Shane Bieber. I get it. I do. But at the end of the day, you know what I see when I see Shane Bieber? I see number 57, and that's it. Because he is an expendable piece if I can make this team better. And if I can get a bat that can deliver consistently, I'm willing to take a chance on some of these young kids. We might be screwed on Tristan this year. That sucks. But Cal Quantrill did not look bad in his rehab start. I believe he had
5 shutout innings.
5 innings, 3 Ks, 3 hits, no runs. So for me, I have a proven commodity that I can get something valuable back instead of waiting out the next 2 years, getting to the end of the season. He goes off and signs with the Mets or the Yankees or the White Sox, heaven forbid, who have been spending money like crazy. So don't rule that out, by the way. Or he goes to the West Coast and all we get is a compensatory draft pick. I cannot give him up for peanuts. I need something out of Shane Bieber. And if we're not a World Series team, and each and every game seems to point in the direction of no, I want something back.
I want Luis Castillo.
So you want a time machine at this point?
We can go get him.
From
We'll
Seattle.
buy out his contract.
You think this isn't the NBA? Seattle's not going to go, hey, he's worth $17 million. As long as you give us $17 million, he's yours. It doesn't work.
So who's your ace if you trade away Shane Bieber?
That is the problem, because there really isn't one. And
Yeah, okay, so that's exactly my point. Our best pitcher other than Shane Bieber and Tristan McKenzie is Tanner Bybee.
Who is, for lack of a better term, unproven as an ace.
His last game was fabulous.
His last game. He doesn't have even half a season yet at the major league level.
That's all we got.
That's a concern.
Well, that's my point. You want to trade away Bieber? Are you going to make Cale Quantrill your ace? Aaron Savali?
Yeah, it's that's concerning. But that's where we're at. It leads me to what I'm concerned about with this team is I don't think the front office believes that this is a championship contending team.
They're very unserious.
I think they looked at this team at the start of the season. They said, if this and this happens, we're good. Otherwise, we're just going to keep building, see if we can get something out of the youngsters. If we get some sort of miracle where Spidey and Gavin Williams become Cy Young contenders, then we can go for it. But otherwise, we're just going to use this season. And I know Guardians fans are not going to want to hear this, but it sounds like this is a building season, which means we're not going to go for it.
What makes me mad is we're not bad. We're not good.
We're right there.
We're not good.
We're literally doing this the whole season until the final day of the season.
If Tristan wouldn't have fucking hurt himself again, I think we would be right on track, to be honest, because our offense is picking up. Quan's hitting. Ahmed's hitting. Josh Naylor's hitting so well that people have to pitch to Jose. That's not good. That's not good when you have to pitch to Jose. That's not good when you're like, shit, can't just walk this guy, because if I walk this guy, fucking Naylor's going to come out here and give me a 2-bomber. Like, I can't do that. Bell's been doing better.
Bell has finally started to come to form.
Bell's been doing fine for me. The only person who hasn't, Straw's been hitting better. The only people who haven't is Jimenez has been kind of However, his defense as is he second or is he short? He's second.
Second base.
Yeah. His defense as second has held up, so that's fine because his hitting is average, so I can accept that. Not to say he doesn't have, and he has good RBI, so it's fine. We can accept all that. Bo has been a disappointment, to say. I don't want to say he's been a disappointment because, and I feel like a lot of people would back me on this. However, I feel like a lot of people would only back me on this because we're kind of being homers a little bit. You got to let him grow a little bit, but I can't help but see the exact same stuff I was complaining about with Zunino. And I can't give you your praise if you're giving me the exact same shit I was just complaining about. His defense has been decent. He hasn't had that many pass balls. He has had some that have meant something, which at this point is making me kind of look at the pitchers. Like, is there something like, are you guys losing control of your, because they're always curves. Always curves in the dirt that they're spiking and shit. And all of our pitchers throw curves. Well, I guess McKenzie doesn't count, but Shane throws a knuckle curve. Tristan throws a 12-6. Gavin throws a curve. Does Bybee throw a curve? I know he throws a slider.
Yeah, Bybee, I think, goes with the slider instead. Just looking at the last 5 games for Naylor. One hit in 12 at bats.
13. However, actually, I thought it was 16 as of today, which isn't doing my case any better. But
that doesn't help your case.
That one hit was the one hit I could take, other than if he would have knocked it out of the park tonight and evened it up. But what I will complain, it's not the getting out that bothers me as much as it is that it's late in the game. We're trying to get their starter out. We have 2 men on, something like that. And it's the second pitch and he grounds it out. Like, again, if we're going to play baseball, can you at least, if you're going to do that shit, can you at least get 3 pitches out of them? At the very least, get 3 pitches out of them. You need to in this situation. Like I said, it's all like, I don't know. I don't know what's going on with him. I don't know if he has the jitters. I don't know if he's not that good, because this isn't not that good. This isn't, hey, you're not playing anymore type shit. Like, he's bad. You look at that. I need you to at least get on base. Like, he's not. He has drawn a couple walks.
His on-base percentage, I'm glad you asked, is 167. So no, he's not getting on base. He's not doing anything.
He's taken 2 walks. Well, he's only had so many at bats. I mean,
yes, and I will grant you that. But here's the thing: if you have a small sample size, the skew is either going to be really positive or really negative. And right now, it is really negative, and that doesn't bode well. There aren't too many people who start off really negative and suddenly become the greatest player of all time.
I'm not looking for him to be the greatest player of all time. All I need for him to hit is 220. I don't even need you to hit 250, just 220, just in those spots. And that's exactly what I've been looking for out of Miles Straw, who's been delivering as of lately, which goes back to maybe about the whole thing I asked earlier about why was he taking that final at bat? Well, maybe because Tito had faith in him, because he did. What was it, last night or the night before? He had a double off the wall that ended up tying up the game or something like that, or bringing in we were 1 down after that, something like that. Also going back to hitters, I know people are also off the send Ahmed to China train, as the guy is playing, in my opinion, phenomenally under the radar just because of Josh Naylor. Quan and Ahmed their hitting and their on base is especially Quan. God, I love that dude. I love me some Stephen Quan. Like, love me some Stephen fucking Quan. Who doesn't? What is there not to like about the guy?
Would you like me to continue referring to you as Stephen Kwan's number one fan?
That would be the number Quan fan.
I'm not playing into that. No, I can't
So,
argue your point on Rosario. He has been arguably the most consistent hitter on the Guardians roster, which, if you'd said that a month ago, somebody would have tried to throw hands at you. It's weird. And it's one of the things that I love about baseball. Baseball is an extremely long season. We play 162, sometimes 163 games to determine just the division winners. Anything can happen at any time. You can see a no-hitter every time you go to the ballpark. Not saying you will, but you could. It's
well, that's
what I love about the game.
that's why I'm just going to say let Bo play for a little bit. He's on a team with his brother, a team that bodes well off of unity and camaraderie. Let him play for a little bit. We'll see what happens. I'm sure he's going to get picked up.
I'm not going to give you negative on Bo Naylor from my perspective simply because, and I think you said it, this is still relatively new for him. He's had very, very limited time at the major league level, and every player that comes up to the majors says the same thing. The transition from AAA to Major League is like going from the shallow end to the deep end of the pool. It is totally different. One of the first things that you'll notice about Major League ballparks as opposed to AAA ballparks generally only have one level beyond the ground floor. They don't have three levels of stadium seats and lights
It's a lot
shining
louder.
directly into your face. It's louder. It is more aggressive, more passionate. You're going to hear a lot more. It's tough. And also keep in mind, Bo Naylor is the catcher, which is the second most important position on the field.
Well, that's why I said I don't need him. That's why I said I don't even need him to hit 250. If he can just catch and potentially throw some guys out at second, because I'm pretty sure we're the number one team to run on, that would be fantastic.
And
The
you'll be
crowd, the
happy.
crowd.
You'll be
Right.
happy to know that Mike Zunino has officially been released this week by the Guardians, so there is no turning back on Zunino.
That sucks. I don't ever like to like hate on a guy or like kick him out unless you're Zach Plesac. I tried with that fucker, but you never like to see that. Can I just get Carlos Santana back? The dude's fucking going off in Pittsburgh. God damn, they took all of our catchers.
Even though he's not a catcher anymore, he's a first baseman.
I don't care. We don't need him at first base. I'm sure he'd come catch for us. We'll just give him a little stool. I'm sure his knees aren't that good anymore.
That's why they put him at first base. That's why we put him at first base because his knees were hurt.
Josh Naylor is the second hottest hitter in baseball right now.
And unfortunately, he will not be an all-star as of today. We'll have to see what shakes out and who from the Guardians gets that call. But Naylor, Ramirez, and Jimenez, who were the favorites to be a potential all-star starter, didn't even make it to the second round. And Shohei Ohtani is actually the starting DH after getting the highest vote total in phase one. Phase two starts, I believe, tomorrow. And you can vote on MLB.com to get the next group of starters selected.
You know what Josh Naylor's batting average is right now?
What is Josh Naylor's batting average? 400?
400. And it had to have gone up today. He had 2 hits, didn't he?
With respect to Josh Naylor, that's impressive. But what Luis Arraez is doing for the Miami Marlins, where he's actually batting over 400 for the season, that's something to keep an eye on. I don't think he's going to get there. I think he'll get to 390. But having that pressure on you, that's tough. And look, the hit streak all time is 50. He's going to. He has to. The math says that he will.
Being a betting guy, that's what me and Tyler talk about that a lot. At some point, listen, you would love to just keep going, but at some point you're going to fall off. It's what happens. the way it works. Look at the Rays. The Rays got their ass beat by the Royals the other day. And I won $70 off that.
Do you have
Welcome
a
to the city.
Do you have a promo code you would like to drop? Jesus H Christ.
I wish I did.
Oh my God.
I started posting my wins so people can follow them now. I can't remember what my handlebar is. Jay on the radio.
Thankfully for the YouTube video, it'll be right here underneath of us.
Oh, okay.
So for those of you who are downloaded, check out the video on YouTube, Believeland Media LLC on YouTube, just to see our crazy shenanigans on video.
So when is the last day of the trade? When's the trade deadline?
I believe it's the end of July or the end. Damn it.
Yo, and what happened with that? What happened with the? I mean, we can skip the whole 25-run beating.
I saw that. Holy
But what the
hell!
What the hell happened with the? We just whooped your ass, and now we're gonna take your best batter. How in the hell? Oh my God! If I was a Rockies fan, I would just go buy a Diamondbacks jersey. Like apparently they own our team. Are we just a minor league? We just a minor league team for the Angels?
That was the damnedest thing I've ever seen. You put up 25 against a team, and then you go. It's like pinks in racing. You just grab one of the guys off the team afterwards. Never seen that.
Who hit the home run for the Rockies?
It wasn't Moustakas who was the one who got traded. I did check that. But it was ridiculous.
Someone tweeted out a Rockies fan, and they were like, so and so homers deep left field to cut the deficit to 24. I thought that was pretty funny.
The MLB trade deadline is August 1st, by the way.
And then we still got a little bit. And then
we still got a lot.
The Rockies actually tweeted out a picture, and it was SpongeBob reading a piece of paper, and it said final score, and he just turned around and threw it in the fire. So I thought that was funny. They didn't even want to post the final score, which I wouldn't either. God bless America. Someone told me, I think I was at work, and I think it was actually Tyler that texted me. Yeah, because I texted you. Because Tyler texted me and he said, oh my gosh, check out the Angels score. So I thought, or he said, check out the Angels game. So I thought maybe something just happened. I thought maybe Ohtani hit 3 home runs or some shit. I don't know. And I opened up my phone and audibly said, holy shit, in the middle of work. Like, that's crazy. And showed it to one of my buddies. And that's, you don't see that every game, which he pointed out. Cole pointed out, my other buddy that I was talking to, that if you take away the 2 innings, the 13 inning and the 8-run inning, it was only like a 3 or 4 to 1 game.
Yeah, if you take away that fourth inning when they scored 13, the 4th inning when they scored 8, like the thing that's the most unbelievable about all of that that game, it happened in Colorado. So you would think Colorado.
I thought that's where they flew at. No, is it the opposite?
No, that's where that's where the ball goes the distance, and Colorado should have at least had a shot. And I believe Justin just dropped out of my little ball here, so hang on a second, I suppose. There you are. Technology
hung up on me.
I hung up on me. I don't hang up on anybody.
Little bastard kicked me out of the Zoom call. No, I think it was my AirPods. I definitely will watch the video back, and you'll see me put my AirPod in and then disappear. Because usually when you tap them, it sends it to the next song, but I was just adjusting. That must have been what happened. Anyway, what was I going off about?
The fact that the Rockies only scored 1 damn run in a 26-run game.
Oh, there was something I was making a point about, though. I know we were talking about the ball flying in Colorado.
The funny thing is, Moustakas didn't even play in that game.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he wasn't even in the game that he got traded for. That's kind of funny.
So do you know what's funny? To that point, and when I ask you this question, and then after I ask you the question, I'm going to tell you the story. Then you answer the question: is how quickly does a player know that they're traded? And I know it's not always, because I was just watching the brawl earlier between the Cincinnati Reds and oh gosh darn it, the Cincinnati Reds, and who was it? It had to deal with Puig, and Puig was in there, and it was that big brawl. I know you know what I'm talking about, and it was when Puig had just been traded to Cleveland, and the whole time the announcers are like, he's fighting for Cincinnati. He doesn't even know he's been traded to a whole different team. Oh, it was a blue team. Was it the Blue Jays? Was it the Dodgers?
It sounds like it might have been the Texas Rangers.
I don't remember who was yelling at who or why it happened in the first place.
But it might have been the Pirates.
It might have been the Pirates, because there was a couple of ones
it
between them and the Pirates.
was the Pirates.
Yeah, and there was just this huge brawl, and like the whole time, like, you know, Puig's doing whatever for what he thought was his team, but they had already traded him.
So in most instances, they would know within reasonable amount of time. Agents will talk to him and kind of be like, hey, you're on the block. They might be trying to move you or things of that nature. But the first person who usually finds out is not the player. It's usually the manager.
Right. Well, he was he playing that game?
I believe he was, yes.
Like, I don't know. Like, that's what I'm like. Can you like trade for someone as they're playing a game?
Yes. It is actually
And you know
happens.
okay, yes. You know what's really stupid right now while I'm thinking about it right on the top of my head is the stupid interviews they're doing while the game is going on. That
Yep.
bullshit has to stop. There is absolutely no how in the world are they even like how did they even think that was a good idea?
It works
And then, like,
in the All-Star game. I like it for the All-Star game because the
oh
All-Star
yeah,
game doesn't matter.
Sure, do it in spring training, sure. Like, you know what? I don't even care if you do it to the outfielders. I don't. Like, I could get that, or I'm sure, you know, or it's up to them if they want to or not. But the other day, like, I've only seen them do it to an outfielder, and maybe there was someone like a second baseman or something. And when I seen the second baseman doing it, I was like, oh, they had it on a catcher the other day. How is that even?
Why?
How is that? I can't remember what freaking team it was.
The
I
one I
almost want to
just
say,
saw. The one
does
I
Real
just saw
Muto
was
speak
Lindor.
English?
Yeah, JT Real Muto. Yeah, he's.
It might have been him. But they had it on the pitcher, and like they're asking him questions, and the dude's like not answering. I'm like, yeah, because he's trying to call a game. What do you? How in the world can you even expect someone to do this? Like, how do you expect him to call a pitch, wait for a pitch, catch a pitch, frame that, everything you're supposed to do, and then answer an interview question? Now, here's the other thing I was going to say to all of that. That might have been different before the pitch clock, but now you expect him to answer a question within 30 seconds, and not to mention that the 30 seconds is shrink to like 10 seconds because 20 of them seconds you're working. I don't know. I was just absolutely shook. Like, it was dumb because he wasn't even answering half the questions because he was calling a game.
Actually, it's interesting you mentioned that because I just saw a game where Francisco Lindor, was the one who was being interviewed, and the announcers actually broke the news of the Eduardo Escobar trade to him during the game. And Escobar is one of his friends in the clubhouse, well, was for the Mets. And he found out that his friend had gotten traded by the announcers during the game while he's trying to make plays.
Oh,
I'm with
poor
you
him.
on this one.
Doesn't it suck to be traded?
And no love lost for Lindor. No love lost for much of any of the New York teams, actually. But that's a whole other time for that. I'm with you 100% on this moratorium on in-game interviews. The only time I'm okay with an in-game interview is when they're in the dugout. Because you're not trying to win the game at that point. You're in the dugout. You're either preparing for the next inning if you're the pitcher, or you're waiting at your turn at bat. I'm fine with that. But on the field in the middle of the game, no way in hell.
Yeah,
Can you
I don't
imagine?
understand it. Can you imagine you fuck up and it's because you're doing a stupid interview or something like that? Yeah, I don't. The first person to do it is going to be pissed. I'll tell you that much.
And it costs your team the the season.
Yeah, yeah,
One
something
game
like
is all it
nah.
takes.
I doubt. I highly doubt they would do something like that in a high leverage game. But if they did, boy golly, I don't shit. I would and I'm right there with someone that wants to argue me right now and say, well, every game's high leverage. I completely agree with you. I completely agree with you.
That's why I'm not a huge fan of the opener thing that Tampa did for a while there. Give me your absolute best starting pitcher. Let them go as far as they can. That's what you're trying to do to win games. You're not bouncing between pitcher to pitcher to pitcher, trying to get an inning out of each pitcher, and then eventually you get a win. There's no staying power in that. It doesn't have enough consistency to survive, and you're just going to tax the hell out of your bullpen. Those things are all a bad idea. I forgot what I was going to say. Oh well. I just don't think that that's the route to go, and I really, again, I'm perfectly fine with that during the All-Star game, and the Futures game is going to be good for that too. Those games are just showcases of the greatest players, and you can talk to them on the field because they're the greatest of that time period.
Or
That's
end of
fine.
season, no meaning games.
Yeah, when you're eliminated, when you've been
Yeah.
eliminated from the season, yeah, games where you have to kind of juggle some intrigue into the game because
I was
there's
just
none.
gonna say that's the type of game you need to interject some more entertainment. Not these games early season where decently every team is competitive.
Except for Kansas City and Oakland.
Kansas City just whooped the shit out of the Rays.
Kansas City would have to win 80% of their games from here on out to win the division.
Are you sure?
It's pretty bad. They would have to go on a massive win streak.
That's saying the rest of these teams, us included, don't suck.
Yeah. Once you're in fifth place in a division, you're pretty much screwed.
Yeah, the Red Sox are probably pissed.
Yeah, they would currently be tied for the AL Central lead.
Is it currently tied? Because last time I looked, they would be in the lead.
I think Minnesota won today.
They did win today. They beat Detroit.
So,
and the Twins did beat the Red Sox. Yeah, the Red Sox were pissing me off. If they could have won any of those freaking games. I knew I didn't like Red Sox, but damn, they didn't have to make it so apparent.
So what are your thoughts
that's
heading
about
in
final thoughts?
Well, that's what I was going to get to is what are your expectations for this road trip? I know the Cubs are at the back end of it. We talked about this the last time the Guards had a road trip. You wanted a 6-4. Is that what you're hoping for here, or do you have something a little bit better in mind?
I would like a 10-0. But that's probably not going to happen. So
it seems a bit much.
I don't know. I would always just hope for a winning series, winning trip. That's always if you can win series, you can win road trips, you can win homestands, you can win playoff series.
3 in Kansas City. Sorry, 3 in Kansas City starting Tuesday, and then 3 on the weekend in Wrigley before coming back home for a big homestand against Atlanta and the Kansas City Royals during the 4th of July week. There's room to make up space here. There's a chance to make up time.
We need to sweep the Royals.
We definitely need to sweep the Royals.
We could definitely use 6 wins. I mean, that's a lot to ask for. I understand that. It's just something else. Again, going back to my bets, talking through stuff with Tyler. We were talking about taking bets and stuff. I'm like, sweeps are really rare. They really, really are, especially nowadays. I don't care what team is against what team. I really don't. You could blindfold me and said A and B. I'm going to pick B to win one of those games, at least. With that being said, they still happen.
They're just not as common as they used to be.
The Royals aren't that good. However, we're also not that good. So, Royals on the up and coming. They also big thing about Kansas City. I heard them point it out the other day is they still sell about 80% of their seats,
Hmm.
regardless. So it's going to be loud. It's going to be proud there. So it doesn't really. And
It's the
they
difference
tend
between putting a championship banner on the wall and not. You can put a championship banner on the wall and then suck for a few years because you still got the job done.
Yeah, they seem to they seem. I was just going to say they seem to take it game by game. They don't care that they're losing the season. They care that they win that game that they're playing that day. So, and that's scary. Because any team that plays like that, that's how you should play, to be honest. Doesn't matter about yesterday, doesn't matter about tomorrow. We need to win today. So, I
To
like
your
that
point,
mentality.
the person in the dugout who's supposed to worry about what happened yesterday and what's going to happen tomorrow, only one person. That's the manager. Everybody else should be focused on today and winning. So yeah, I
And
agree with you completely.
drill it down even further, you can only worry about one pitch at a time, one swing at a time. That's one thing. It's one thing that's really, 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 really fascinating about baseball is you could have the whole crowd on their feet down to one out. Oh, it's over. All he needs to do is put it in the stroke. My God, what the fuck was that? Was that a home run? That's okay. We're still up by 2. That's not that big of a deal. All he needs to strike out this guy, and he's on first base. That's not that big of a deal. All he needs to do is strike this guy, and that's a home run. Holy shit, we're tied. The hell just happened here? We
At
were
some
supposed to win with one more strike. What the hell just happened here?
at
And it
some point
happens.
the SpongeBob, oh my leg guy shows up because that's about what that felt like.
And it happens to everyone. It happened to us last year with the White Sox. And Josh Naylor had 8 RBIs from the 8th inning on. So that's one of the. I think that's one of the things that people really miss out about baseball is there's not a whole lot of contact, and yes, it is a little slow, but like when those moments happen, those moments happen. It actually turned turning Tyler into a pretty big baseball fan too.
I continue to spread the gospel of baseball.
It's I don't know. Maybe it's just because I'm getting into it a little bit more than I was before, but I feel like it's kind of making a comeback. You can bitch about the pitch clock all you want, but
It's not
the
going anywhere.
casual fan, it works. The people that don't I've noticed that they're like, oh, I like it, but I don't know. I don't think it's that big of a deal. I don't think it's as big of a deal as we thought it was going to be. Same with the shift. You don't even mention it or hear about it being mentioned. Oh, if the shift or this or that. So that's nice that the scores are
Yeah.
bigger. Um,
I do wonder what the shift would have done to that 25-1 Angels win, though.
I only wonder if maybe there's a little adjustment we can do to the pitch clock from like the 7th inning on. It goes up to like a full minute because them ninth, eighth, ninth inning pitches, you might need a little bit more decision time on, and I think that's fair. Maybe even in the playoffs, the pitch clock. What's it at? 30 seconds?
It's at 20 seconds, actually. It's 30 seconds for the first pitch, and then it's 20 seconds each pitch in the at-bat.
Yeah, like that's insane. That's insane when you say that out loud, dude. I guarantee you, I'm sure there's a video of it somewhere that these pitchers, these Hall of Fame pitchers, would have been like, "There's no way I could have done that. There's no way I could have been as good as I was if I would have had to make a decision on a pitch that quickly."
It's
Because
tough.
you can cherry pick stuff. Like I get there's long at bats and stuff like that, and I don't know. Sometimes that was the beauty of it. So, um, I do think though, like I said, you extend it maybe a little bit, or maybe again, like I said, in the playoffs or something like that, because those are big time situations and stuff like that. Because there's, we was it us? Yeah, it was the other day against the A's where Class A got a strikeout on a pitch clock violation. He was up 0-2 on a guy, and the guy called time, but the ump didn't see him call time, and then he got rung up
There was one the other day, Houston.
in the ninth. I said Class A, so yeah.
Yeah, Ryan Stanek was called for a balk because of the
Yeah,
pitch
I've seen
clock
that
getting
too.
close, and he absolutely exploded. I've not seen anybody come that aggressively at a an umpire in quite some time. There's been a lot of back and forth on a lot of the umpiring decisions. I what's going on in Washington is very interesting. Davey Martinez has been very vocal about the fact that the umpires have essentially cost him 2 or 3 games this season from not calling strikes where they should be calling them, calling for the framing of the pitch, to issues with the running lane at first base. At one point, Davey Martinez was showing the umpire, the home plate umpire, where he was making his calls for strikes, and he was down on his stomach, laying on top of home plate, framing the pitch underneath. It was ridiculous. It's gotten to the point where we're going to have robot umpires. You're 2 to 3 years away from that at most. And I've seen it in action in the minor leagues. It's not noticeable until something is obviously wrong. But I think we're at the point now where it's got to happen. These umpires that are good are great, but the umpires that are bad are horrible, and they're a huge problem in Major League Baseball.
Personally, I got two points to this. Personally, I don't want to say I don't care, because that's a hard way to like put it, but I'll explain myself. I don't care about umps bad calls, because it goes good sometimes, it goes bad sometimes. That's just the way of the game. That doesn't bother me. Of course, when they strike against my pitcher, they're a bunch of fucks. But like,
damn you!
That really doesn't bother me. Of course, in the moment or something, it might be like, oh, this stupid guy. But like at the end of the day, I just think that's the game. What does bother me 100% is these umpires acting like they're gods that the players need to bow down to. That's what bothers me, because you called a strike that was clearly at my toes, and I go around and go, dude, what the hell was that? That was clearly at my toes. And the guy either goes, okay, you're out of here, or he goes, okay, go ahead, throw the next ball. Strike out, you stupid little bitch. Dude, seriously? Like, we're playing a professional game here, and you should be a professional umpire. Just because it goes back to getting shown up or getting cracked a home run on or something like that. Just because you got called out because you made the wrong call, you made the wrong call. And some umps, there's some umps that will be like, yeah, okay, my bad, and then won't do that. But there's a lot more, and will be shown and shine out a lot more, that just, like I said, will use their emotion in the very next strike or something like that. And then it's, the same goes with like managers or stuff like that, especially now, because these umps are such wusses. They make a bad call, then they make another bad call, then they make another bad call. What do you think's going to happen? Yeah, because if the manager doesn't gonna go out there, then what does he look like? That's your team getting chewed up right now. So you're going to go out there and go, dude, what the hell are you doing? And he goes, you're out of here. Bro, like, people don't like Rocco Baldelli. People don't like Aaron Boone. And I mean, fuck the Yankees.
Hey, it's our special segment that's still looking for a sponsor.
Fuck the Yankees. But like, I would never personally be mad at a manager that acts like that, because that's, especially in this day and age where you're just supposed to bow down and everything like that. Like, at least they have someone that feels like that sticks up for them. Now they both, the other underside of that is half the time they end up looking like idiots. So, I mean,
I have stated many times in many places that I believe umpires should not have the power to eject. They abuse the privilege, and it ruins the game. I've seen Bryce Harper, get ejected for arguing balls and strikes this season. I know Naylor and Jose Ramirez have had words with umpires about the strike zone. There have been numerous star players who have had concerns about this, and getting them ejected ruins the game. Because if you're taking my number one bat out of the lineup because you're a little bitch and can't take a little criticism, I don't know what to tell you. I work, you work. We work in places where you're going to take some heat when you make a mistake. what do? You don't sit there and you're not a little bitch about it. You pick yourself up, dust yourself off, and keep on moving forward. You don't go, you know what? You're out of here because you don't do that shit.
My
And
problem with
if
go
it's so
ahead.
damn important that the player get ejected, then somebody at the replay center in New York is going to see it and go, "Hey, you need to eject Bryce Harper. That's a little bit uncalled for." Simple, right? Take it out of the umpire's hands. They do not deserve that opportunity. They do not deserve to have that privilege because they don't know what they're doing with it.
It I just think it all revolves like around the old school way, and this would go for something like police officers or teachers. Um, I mean, you should respect your teachers unless they're POSs. I mean, this is pretty much what it goes. Police officers, teachers, umpires, referees. It's all the same thing. They're all authority figures that you should be able to just blindly obey, right? These should be better people in society that you can just they say do this and you say okay, that's the right thing to do because that's what they have been taught or yes, that's what they've been taught to do. Like I said, police officer, teacher, umpire, any one of them. Police officer says, "Hey, you broke this law." Teacher says, "Hey, you need to learn this thing." Umpire says, "Hey, that was a strike." All three of those you should be able to just blindly believe. You should be able to. And growing up back in the day, you just did because that's what you were taught is that you should just blindly believe these people. And to this day, you should be able to blindly believe these people. I don't want anyone to think I'm getting political or anything because I'm not. This is mostly just about umpires. I was just throwing in other examples there. But when said authority figure doesn't constantly make the right choices, and that is more what is the word? I wanted to say prevalent. That's not the word. That is more under the microscope now than ever with cameras everywhere. Everyone has a phone in their hand. Everyone can put that video, photo, whatever it is on Facebook within minutes, and thousands of millions of people know about what just happened about this or that. So in this day and age, they should be being better even, but they're also being caught more. So I'm going on an absolute rampart here, but my roundabout point is that in this day and age now, police officers, teachers, not really teachers, y'all respect your damn teachers. Y'all respect your damn teachers. You hear me? Professors, I don't care what they are, but you respect them. All these authority figures is we as a generation, the generation below us, is starting to question more rather than just blindly believe because we've seen too much go wrong from blindly believing. And that's kind of what's going on, I think. Finally dumping back into where I'm getting with my umps and players thing is you're taught for so long that you're not supposed to argue balls and strikes.
It's actually a rule. You can't.
Yeah.
That will get you ejected immediately. And that is also what has caused a lot of these ejections.
So
but there's leeway to that.
That's where I can't disagree. Like you were saying about, I can't disagree with the umps throwing them out because it is the rule. I can't disagree with the cop giving you a speeding ticket for going a mile over because that is the rule. Is it a little dumb? Is it a little excessive? Sure. But you broke the rule. I don't know what to tell you. So, like, where's the line at? And at the end of the day, the sheriff, I don't know who runs a police unit. Is it the sheriff? The captain? Sure. The captain, the principal, the manager, or I guess crew chief, Robert Manfred. Who runs the MLB? I got my people wrong.
So Robert Manfred is the commissioner. But
all right.
But there's a leader over top of all of the umpiring crews. Like there's an officiating leader. Like I don't remember.
They need to do something about it. They should be the one to say, "Hey, dude, you've been sucking. You get fined or something." And that just goes back to the players get fined, teams, organizations get fined, Hell, you guys want more money for the organization? Find your refs too. They're going to be less opted to fuck up. They're going to be less opted to use that emotion and call another strike. They're like, well, I don't want to pay like $500K, so whatever. I guess I'll call this call the way it's supposed to be fucking called. Ball. Like, you know what I mean? So
it's tough because one thing, and this is devil's advocate because I'm completely on board with you on this. Umpires are human beings too, and you got to treat them with respect. I will readily admit there have been plenty of times where players have disrespected umpires and they've done it the whole game and it eventually boiled over and that's what led to them getting tossed. I'm not saying that you should go out there and spit on the umpires. I'm saying the umpires and the players need to find a common ground and stay there. Because right now, we're about 2 to 3 years away from half the umpires not having a job. Because we won't need as many.
I just I don't know. I think, like I said, I just think if you fine them, hold them responsible. It's a job. When you don't do your job right, what happens? You get wrote up. I think that's pretty much what it should be. Or the whole like, okay, you've done this so many times this season, you don't get to call the World Series or anything like that.
And that's a fair one.
Something
that's like, a fair one. Like getting chosen for totally a postseason.
If you're an umpire, that's your goal, right? Is to ump the World Series. Like,
yes. We actually had this past off season.
Because if you're umping the World Series, that's the MLB saying you're the best umpire, one of the best umpires we have, and we want you on this game.
And the at the time active leader for most World Series umpired, specifically behind home plate, just recently retired.
Hernandez.
No, God, no. Angel Hernandez needs to be fired out of a cannon at the sun. He is useless.
Was he the one who sued the MLB?
Way. Yes.
Some racist bastards.
He's just bad at his job. He walks into a door and doesn't realize that the door was there until it smacks him in the face.
And he's like, you know what?
He looks at. No, he ejects the door.
That's a ball.
Angel Hernandez is about as good an umpire as I am as a rocket scientist.
So moderate?
Yeah, a little bit, yeah. I think I could get us to Pluto.
So who's the best ump?
You know, they don't release that kind of stuff. That's the problem. There's no
I thought
real
you just said you were looking at the number one behind the home plate. You didn't say who that was.
In terms of number of times who's done it, that kind of thing. I don't have the list in front of me. I just remember because I was watching.
I thought you were going to say it.
Oh no!
That's what I was asking.
I was just thinking back to an MLB Network show that I was watching in the off season during the hot stove.
All right.
This is what I do. Baseball is what I do. I love baseball. That's what I do. 24 hours a day, 365 days a year.
Got anything to wrap up the guards and yelling about the umps and everything else?
Yes, I wanted to ask your thoughts on the upcoming Pittsburgh Pirates City Connect jersey.
They're great.
Are you saying that so that any potential fans of ours?
I looked up every single City Connect jersey, and I went through all of them. And there's how many right now? 20?
Yeah, there's 10 left as of this season, which should get remedied next season.
And there's about 2 that weren't just absolutely amazing. And I include Baltimore in that. I like Baltimore's. Sue me. I like an all black jersey. There's nothing wrong with that. I like how they have the little flowers on the. I like it. Baltimore, I like it. Like all of them. The Washington, like the Nationals with the flowers, absolute gas. The Angels, old school, absolute gas. Who else? The Pittsburgh ones are fucking fired. Chicago White Sox.
Who were the 2 that you didn't like?
I can't remember. And it wasn't that. It was. I want to say there was only one that I didn't like. The other one was
Texas.
Just. I think Texas was the one I just thought was plain.
Yes, because it has the TX, it has the number, and that's it.
No, I like that one. Kansas City's is gorgeous. Like, if ours isn't good, I'm gonna be so pissed. So pissed. Kansas City's is good. Does Detroit have theirs yet? I don't think so.
No, Detroit does not have theirs yet.
Might have been the Dodgers actually that I didn't like because it was just nothing. Like Los Dodgers.
Yes, it's the blue Los Dodgers.
Which don't get me wrong, I'm actually a fan of Hispanics jerseys. I was actually thinking about getting me a Los Heat Kevin Love jersey. I just think like so City Connect, do they have a huge Hispanic community?
In Los Angeles, California.
It's City Connect. I don't. What's the reasoning? Are you telling me I'm stupid? I don't know. I don't know what you're driving at here. Like,
Well,
are you saying yes, dumbass, or no, dumbass? I'm confused.
I'm saying yes, dumbass.
Oh,
because
okay.
they're not that far from the
I get that.
the border, and California is traditionally like that's
what are they?
Kind of a no-brainer.
Hispanic state. I didn't know that. I'm not from the West Coast. I didn't know that. Like,
but
I get that they're right next to. I don't think I've ever read an article that says the Los Angeles Dodgers heavily Hispanic. I've never read that or anything like that. What? I didn't know that. I apologize if that makes me ignorant. I guess it makes sense with them being like right on the border of Mexico, but I just didn't.
Yes, that's like a slam dunk.
Okay, so
that was a layup.
I'm trying to think who else. Did the A's have theirs? I'm pretty sure the A's were even good.
I don't think Oakland's had theirs yet.
I'll say, or they might not have had theirs.
They just have a shitload of jerseys by default.
I'm trying to think of the other. I'm trying to think of what they said number one. Because the article I was reading where I was trying to look for all of them had them ranked.
I can probably find that.
And I was saying out loud, I think it was actually ESPN. And I was saying out loud, because Tyler was over here, to Tyler, I was like, who's are really freaking good are Chicago's. And those were ranked number 2. The Cubs ones are nasty too. Wrigleyville?
Colorado's number 1.
Like, what does it look like?
The Mountain.
Oh yeah, like they're also and it goes right with the Nuggets too. Like they look also. Someone suggested that we followed the exact ones that the Cavs did, and I would be kind of pissed if we did that. I don't like the Cavs one. I like the idea. I love the Metro Parks idea. I just don't like the colors. That's pretty much it. Like I don't like light blue and white. That's too light for me. Cleveland's not a light city. We're pretty nitty and gritty. Like you're pretty dark and dim. We are. I'm trying to think of who else is. Like they were all just even Space City. Man, fuck the Astros, but the Houston's ones were nasty to all of them. Every single one of them, with the exception of, like I said, I didn't even necessarily hate the Dodgers or the. What's the other one I said? It wasn't the Rangers because I like the Rangers one. Which one?
Well, I'm guessing it might have been the Giants since there's this. That's the white one with the orange G that kind of disappears towards the bottom.
No, the Giants. I'm thinking of the Padres are up in the air for me. I don't necessarily dislike them, but I don't know what that whole color scheme is, which I know they've been doing for a while anyway. So that's part of the Connect. So I get that, but maybe I'd feel different if I rooted for them. But
I'm sorry she didn't say anything about the Brewers one, by the way. That's probably one of my favorites.
The Brew Crew one's another one. Listen, I'm trying to remember them all. I know I remember it's light blue and it says Brew right here. It says Brew and then Crew right below it. I remember them all. They're nice looking. Like
with a really cool patch on the sleeve that's a grill that looks like a baseball.
I really like the Nationals. I think the Nationals ones I really like those with the bonsai tree, I think is what it's called, or the leaves or whatever on it. It's got like the flower and it just says WSH.
The cherry blossom. Yeah,
cherry blossom. That's what it is. I like that one too. I think that one looks really good. Same. I like the three letter. I like the PGH for Pittsburgh. I think it's kind of a slam dunk for CLE. I'm just saying. Or the land. I'm okay with going with the land too because it's City Connect.
as the fact that our show is called Double Play CLE, it would be kind of cool if it said CLE across it. That'd be like a
I'm
really
trying to think.
easy one
Do
for
the
us.
Twins have theirs?
No, but
Trying to
that's
think who else.
actually
I'm trying to think of
that
the other ones. What
that
do the
leads me to
Jays look like?
they don't have one. And that's actually what I was leading into because the New York Yankees
Ooh, my back
indirectly
just
through
popped in like 5 places.
the
Go
owner
on.
Hal Steinbrenner has basically revealed there won't be a Yankees City Connect jersey. Your thoughts?
I don't know how there's Yankees fans.
They've been
The
around
team,
forever.
the
That's
the
why.
team, the team is nothing but a bunch of pieces of shit. They don't give a fuck about the fan. They don't give a fuck about their players. All they care about is winning championships. Which, listen, I get it. I get it. But like, oh my god, like that. Why? Oh, I don't want. I don't. I. We don't want to. We don't. Nah. Fucking names on the back of their jerseys. Like, what a bunch of fucks. I don't like the Yankees. Like, seriously,
Can you
the
imagine if you
Steelers.
were a New York Yankee and you
I've
had to
hated
go
this.
shave your beard and your mustache off?
I had the Steelers. Like, I've hated the Steelers for so long, but like the Yankees have to be the most toxic piece of shit, garbage, low life scum fan base in all of sports. Has to be. Not even fan base. The whole ass organization is ass, 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 and they're assholes. And your stupid beard and hair thing doesn't work. Care. Nobody likes you guys anyway. Jesus Christ.
Boy, I really
I'm
hope
gonna
we're never going back to Yankee Stadium. We're going to get murdered.
if I'm going back to Yankee Stadium, it's when we play them, and I'm going to be all in Cleveland gear, and I hope to God we whoop their ass, and I hope Josh Naylor homers off of Garrett Cole again. They're not even that good for all that money. They're not even that fucking good.
You know
God,
who you know who holds the first win in the history of that version of Yankee Stadium, right?
is it us?
Yeah, Cleveland beat them like 13-1.
I was watching something the other day about
I think Omar
I,
Vizquel had a home
God,
run.
I can't remember what field it was. Well, maybe it was Yankee Stadium then, because they were like first, and someone hit a home run. I can't remember. No, because it was like the first pitch.
It might have been Grady Sizemore because that would have been a little bit later on. Omar hit a home run in Yankee Stadium, in old Yankee Stadium. That one was weird. Old Yankee Stadium was so much better than New Yankee Stadium.
And I don't hate the Mets nearly as much as I hate the Yankees. If I hate the Mets, it's simply because of Francisco Lindor and Justin Verlander. That's about it.
Yeah, Justin Verlander's made my life a living hell for years. So
And I'm about over Justin Verlander, to be honest. I mean, he's washed, so watching him suck is fun. And they lost the game on like a walk or something like that the other night. That shit was fucking funny. No, they lost it on something stupid. They were like the last four, they were up by four, and then like it was like they walked one, hit a batter, walked one, and something else, like another walk or something to lose the game. So that's funny.
it occurs to me that I have not mentioned this, so I'll mention this now. The Akron Rubber Ducks game on July the 19th against the Richmond Flying Squirrels. Pretty much everybody from Believe Land Media will be in attendance enjoying the game because our friends from Guardians of the CLE podcast are going to be throwing out the first pitch. And as I understand it, they are scheduled for a bullpen session on Thursday. And we will hear about that next week right here on Double Play CLE because I am going to get the scoop on that.
Our big boy Dean going to be there?
I think everybody. I literally think everybody in Believe Land Media is going to be there.
I'll be there.
I'm looking forward to it. I love a good Akron Rubber Ducks game. I've been to a couple. I actually was at the All-Star game. That's why I'm wearing this hat this week.
Do we need to buy tickets for that? Like, what if I wanted to bring my son?
I think it's too late to buy them for that same day. Because, well, I'll talk to you about that off the air.
I mean,
Why are
not that
you
big of a deal.
flipping
If
me
not,
off? I didn't do anything.
before we leave here, the only other real bit of Cleveland news lately is that we actually traded. What did we traded with Golden State? The Cleveland Cavs turning into basketball here. Traded with Golden State up in the draft. It was like the 24th, 25th, 26th pick. You don't know? It was something like
No,
that.
I don't think we traded. I think we just picked at 47.
Or it was a trade. Like we didn't have that pick. We got that from some type of trade or something like that. We chose Imoni Bates. Imoni,
Amani.
Amani. Don't really know a whole lot about him as I don't really follow college a whole lot. I do know there was big talks of him when he went into college as he was like number one coming out of high school. I'm hearing a lot of 50-50 from it, and especially me coming into the draft, going also back to someone like Gavin Williams or something like that, is it's there's a whole lot. Someone can be the greatest thing ever. Also talking about Wemby here, and Scoot Henderson. Is that, you know, people can be the greatest thing ever in college, overseas, and all that stuff, but the major league is a completely different level. So you never know what you can see from them. You're never going to see what kind of development. I'm seeing a lot of 50-50 between that we had the pick of the draft and that we wasted our pick in the draft. So I guess we'll find out. He looks a little skinny, though. He definitely needs some weight and some muscle. That's pretty much all I'm asking.
I think a lot of that is because he's 6'9". So this is a big, and you could argue the Cavs really needed a true big. After last season, you had problems there. Let's put it that way. Looking at his stats from his only season at Eastern Michigan, he averaged 19 points, which was third in the MAC, 5.8 rebounds, 1.4 assists, 40.5% from the field, 33% from behind the arc, and he had a hell of a matchup against Toledo, where he scored 43 points, 29 consecutive. Look,
But you're telling me
if
that's if you're telling me that's a big averaging that many points, that sounds pretty
I'll
appealing
take
to me,
it.
to be honest.
So he should
However, the
almost
only thing
six
I would like,
rebounds a game. I love that. That's one of the problems that the Cavs had last season.
if we could get a mini Joker, that would be great.
Yes, let's
But
just find him and we'll shrink him.
well, that's what you're potentially telling me with this dude is what I'm saying. Again, he needs to put on some muscle and put on some weight. And as long as he can bang with the bigger dudes in the paint, sounds like a win to me. Can he shoot threes?
33%.
Sounds fabulous for a big. Maybe we did get the steal of the draft.
It almost sounds, and maybe this is recent glasses history. Sounds a lot like a younger version of Kevin Love, doesn't it?
The only thing that sucks, but doesn't suck, I'll get to this another roundabout point, then we'll wrap up here, is that being the number one, I could be wrong on this, but I'm almost positive we were the number one defensive team in the league last year. Being the number one defensive team, watching the 5 games we played in the playoffs, one of them personally live, why does it seem like that's what we needed is more defense?
Defense was the Nuggets were the number one team.
We were up there though.
We were 12.
No. In what? In points allowed?
I'm sorry, 5. My apologies, 5.
Okay, that sounds a lot better. Yeah, that
Had the
sounds
wrong
about
thing.
right.
Yeah, had the wrong thing listed there.
So yeah, however, something that someone had also pointed out was that where am I going here? That's not the way the league is anymore. That you almost just kind of abandon defense and you go all in on offense. So if this guy is a big that can shoot and make me some more points and potentially get me some rebounds and make some decent defensive plays, then sounds like exactly what we need.
See, you say that. Abandon defense. Everybody's abandoning defense. Okay. So if everybody's not doing this one thing and this one thing could make me better than everybody else, hell, I'm going to go do that thing. I would rather have the best defensive team.
Well, you're missing the whole point is that the number one defensive team who did the other thing just won the championship this year. Defense wins championships. That holds true through any sport, anywhere, anytime, any score. It is a fact, and I hate it because I don't know. I want to say I'm an offensive guy, but I like to say I'm pretty balanced. I do like a little bit of both. I do love my pitchers as well as my hitters. In fact, I think you would argue I probably like my pitchers more. So
Yeah, you do.
I mean, it's I don't know. We'll have to see. That's what I got to say about drafts. That's why I don't really follow him that much. You'll see. We'll see. We'll see how he plays. The same thing with Bo Naylor. We'll see how he plays. Give him a little bit more.
That's fair. Before we get out of here, as the wrestling fans that we are, this Saturday from London is the Money in the Bank WWE Premium Live event. Jay, you and I have been to a Money in the Bank. We actually have seen 2 Money in the Bank cash-ins. Your memories, what is your favorite Money in the Bank moment?
You sure you want to do that?
Is it what I think it is?
I mean, probably. I'll never forget that. I will never forget that. It sucks. Like, don't get me wrong. I didn't want to necessarily see that happen, but I will not forget that because there was huge. It was when Brock Lesnar cashed in on Seth Rollins. That shit was huge. And there was the buildup with him teasing it and shit. That was what got us. Like, nah, he's just teasing it again. Nah. No, he cashed in and he F5'd the shit out of Seth Rollins and took his title. It's huge. Now, and you know what? I'm over Brock. It's the same with Tom Brady. It's the same with Steph Curry. I'm over it. You can only hate greatness so long before you just witness it. What's the point in fighting? What's the point in fighting it? So at that point when that happened, I think was kind of my turning point with Brock. I did hate him up until that point. I was just like, you know what? Fuck it. They're going to let him keep winning. I might as well be a fan of his. However, if it wasn't him and it was someone else and it wasn't Seth Rollins, you'd probably be saying the same thing.
I don't know.
The Alexa Bliss one was cool too, though.
Being there for the Alexa Bliss cash-in was pretty cool. And that was involving Ronda Rousey and keeping her away from the title for as long as we possibly could. I mean, Money in the Bank used to be something special. And unfortunately, it really feels like it's lost a bit of its luster. This event, which was kind of circled on the calendar as one of the big events, Austin Theory won it last year, and he failed against the United States champion. So how
Hold
much
it
value
once
does
every
that
2
have?
or 3 years.
Yes.
Hold it once every 2 or 3 years and let the contract be available that entire 2 or 3 years.
That's perfect. I don't think Money in the Bank needs to be a premium live event anymore. I think it needs to be tied back to WrestleMania like it was.
Or you go back and forth, women's 1 year, men's the other.
That would also work. I'd be fine with that too. I just think
because I do like the pay-per-view. It's the ladder match. It's not the it is the Money in the Bank, but it's the ladder match that's the what's the word? The appeal of it. Like
I get it, but at the same time, you can throw a ladder match into any show.
yeah,
You really can.
I understand that, but I'm just saying, Money in the Bank, you're getting 2 ladder matches, 2 6-person, at least 6-person ladder matches. Like it's like was it like Extreme Rules when you actually got extreme matches? It's like the Elimination Chamber. You don't, you're getting the Elimination Chamber. Wrestling's coming to a point. The part that sucks about wrestling, and I think a lot of people don't want to like admit it, is it's coming to a point where we've seen everything.
Yes.
All you can do at this point is fucking kill yourself. Oh wait, we've seen that too.
It's very unfortunate, but yeah, people are pushing the envelope so much in professional wrestling that the things that worked even 10 years ago, you can't do it anymore.
Leg drop. You can't do a Rock elbow. That's not even exciting anymore. Shawn Michaels' finisher is a common move.
Yeah, I can't argue that point.
A very, 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 very common move. Has to be like as common as the suplex. That's like telling me, that's like if you're to tell someone who was born who's a 10, 12-year-old, like that used to be like a suplex. That used to be a finisher. Like Hulk Hogan used to fall on them, and that was his finisher. Like what? Like that's fucking boring. That's the unfortunate part is it's wrestling in itself has pretty much, I think, run its course. And really the only people left that are watching it are true bear down grit fans. And I don't mean that rudely. I don't mean that rudely towards fans or towards superstars, towards anyone like that. I just think it's the truth.
I think we're reaching a point where there's a definite line in the sand, unfortunately. And I don't know what it's going to take to bring the casual fan back in.
You got to get rid of it. You would have to get rid of wrestling for like 5-10 years. That's what you would have to do. You would have to restart the whole thing.
I don't know about that. I don't think that's the answer. I think the answer is that next big star, that next big Rock, that next big Stone Cold Steve Austin, that next big Hulk Hogan. We don't have that yet. I think people keep thinking that Roman Reigns is that guy, and he's not. People keep thinking MJF is that guy, and he's not. They're not moving the needle enough.
That's because you can't go on the TV and say fuck you to your boss. You can't. It's not going to happen. What are you going to do? What did Stone Cold do? He said F you to the boss and beat up his boss. What did The Rock do that made him so famous? Because I don't know either. That's why I'm
essentially he said F you to the fans.
So I mean, like, I just don't think you have anything left. You can't go get a Omos anymore because we don't care. We've seen the Great Khali. We've seen Andre the Giant. I've seen him get FU'd by John Cena. So someone suplexing Omos isn't that big of a deal to me. And on top of it all, these guys are sloppier. So like, I just don't think you're not gonna get. You know, I was thinking about this earlier, actually. Funny we're talking about this. I was thinking about this earlier in just terms of like football, baseball, and in terms of like, oh, it's not as gritty as it used to be. Well, that's because we've come to a point where we're concerned about the player's safety. Back in the day, we would just shoot him with steroids and say, get back out there, boy, go hit us a home run. And now, and that's great and all. There's two sides to every coin, and people just don't like to see both sides. You want to argue the fact that people aren't nitty and gritty anymore. Well, yeah, that's because we just don't want people dying at 35, 40 anymore just for your entertainment to hit a baseball or throw a football. And then goes back to the other side of like, oh my gosh, DeMar Hamlin, like we need to be more safe. Well, guess what? We need to be more safe. Those turtle helmets are going to come out pretty soon, and everyone's going to bitch about those.
Actually, there's starting to become a lot more statistics that are saying that those helmets don't really have that much of a
really
benefit. That they're just kind of it's kind of like marginal at best. That kind of thing.
I don't think it's not the helmet; it's your neck.
It's the whole. I mean, like I was watching.
You're gonna have to be playing in a body cast pretty soon. Like they're gonna have like neck straighteners. Like that's you know what I mean? Like.
I'm not a big Goldberg fan, but I was watching the A&E Most Wanted Treasures show, and he was talking about how he got into wrestling. And he mentioned how in football, the average play is 18 seconds. So you have to go to full speed ahead, ready to collide, and then stop in the span of 18 seconds. And you have to do that over and over and over and over. I think that is something that needs to be studied, because I think that is the problem. You are taking a person who is well conditioned, we'll say that, and you're going from 0 to 160 in the span of 18 seconds for like an hour. That cannot be good for the body at all.
Big time devil's advocate to that is, yeah, well, you're getting paid millions.
Not all of them are.
I mean, it's your choice. You don't have to play football.
That's fair.
I mean, and the people who do make millions, they got plenty of money to go take care of their health. So That's the only
It,
downside to that is like I said, you don't have to play football. You don't have to play baseball. And that's kind of where I drive into the let them play category. Listen, if they came out tomorrow and said they were letting people do steroids again, that's their decision. I don't give a shit if they do steroids. I'm going to watch people crank 600-foot home runs. I'm not going to complain. I'm going to be honest here. I'm going to watch people throw 200-mile-per-hour fastballs. I'm not going to complain. I'm
you're
going to
not
be
going to
honest
watch.
here.
You're not going to watch anybody ever throw a 200-mile-an-hour fastball because it'll go through the catcher.
I'm just saying, like, I would not complain about that. And like I said, that's their decision if they want to do that or not. And I think if they came out today and said that, I don't think that many players actually would, especially because there's healthier alternatives nowadays to being fitter and better than people were with steroids. However, I'm sure they'd find some way or something or blah 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 blah. Which at the end of the day, I think goes back to, now let me not put it this way. I don't want to bring it political again, but at the end of the day, I do think it goes back to like my body, my choice type deal. Like, hey, if they want to do that shit, that's on them. I'm not telling them to take steroids. You know what I mean? But if they want to, I mean, whatever. That's kind of where I'm coming from is like, why, like, you're in there for their safety, like, sure, but like, that's if they want to, that's their decision to do that.
So
But then you go to the whole like you go to the whole like you want to make the decision for them thing because you know they want to be the best and they're going to try and crank out and ruin their life and blah 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 blah. But again, that's their choice. And then what happens when they do? What happens when they do get buff as shit and do crank out 500 home runs that season and do make millions? Now what? Now was it wrong of you to interfere in their way that they made their fame? I don't know. All I'm saying though is I think it should be up to them. That's all I gotta say.
well,
That's it.
the thing that
And
I
I'm
was
not
getting
against it
to,
being banned either. I'm not against the health of the players. Go ahead.
the thing that I was getting to is those 18 seconds. They have studied a little bit of this, and it's the equivalent of being in a car accident.
Yeah, because adrenaline and everything, you're using your body to its maximum.
Imagine being in a car accident every 18 seconds for an hour. That sounds that sounds terrifying.
I don't know who said this. Goldberg. What position did he play?
I think he was a nose tackle.
Okay, so you're not running anywhere.
No, but you're colliding at whatever speed you could get to, sudden explosivity, and
No,
your
I get
job
it.
is
And
to drive
and I
through
don't
the guy in front of you.
I don't want to downplay it either because there is a lot of
And
force
look,
there.
I'm not a Goldberg fan at all, but there are merits to what he's saying there. And I get it. There are some people out there who are listening to this or watching this and they're going, "Who gives a shit? They get paid millions." I think you even said it yourself. But there are some of us out there that are going, maybe this is something we can look into to help the longevity of these players because going just at the running back position, let's go there. The average running back lasts about 3 seasons if they're lucky. You get more than 3 seasons as a running back, you're going to the Hall of Fame almost at this point because of how difficult that position is to maintain. Because you have to have speed, you have to have power, and you
I
have
don't
to
think it's
have
maintained.
agility.
I don't even think it's maintained. It's just getting back to exactly what I said or maybe I didn't say this actually, but we are in a point where every year the population grows. So every year there's going to be more superstars that are born. There's going to be more freak athletes that are born. And running backs are a diamond. All these running backs can do anything you ask them to do. You know what I mean? So it's really at the end of the day, like there's not a whole lot of difference between these running backs. They can all run the same. I mean, there is, but there isn't. I know I'll get roasted for that, but my point being is just the fact that just like especially in this day and age, I think it's more about the system than it is about the actual running back themselves.
So you think Nick Chubb, if he were not a Cleveland Brown, would be better or worse?
He'd probably be about the same. It depends on the system that he's in. And it's simple to see when you take him out and you put Kareem Hunt in, you get the same results. When you take Kareem Hunt out and you put Deontay Johnson in, you get the same results. If you got blockers that can block and a runner that can run in a straight line at a decent speed. Now, I get it. I love Nick Chubb. Please, no one come for my freaking neck. I understand people run different and people run faster and people run harder. And Nick Chubb is like a hard nose. He runs straight at you. And Kareem's more of a juke and jump guy. Like, I get all that. But at the end of the day, it's about running the ball.
I feel like the Pile Driver boys and the Brown and Orange Weekly crew are both going to be coming for you on that one.
I mean, it is what it is. I'm not taking away from Nick Chubb. I love Nick Chubb. And he was the second best running back for like the last 2 years. But was he the first? No, he wasn't. And I mean, I don't know. I personally don't. I don't think anyone can disagree with that too far. I mean, who has been a absolute stud running back, household name across the United States over the last 5 years?
Well, I was going to say
the last one,
because Run CMC was the thing of it is you have to keep in mind you're also talking about a generation of fans that are doing fantasy football drafts. So these players are going to be household names across the country because you know them because you're studying them for your draft. So that's tough.
You got Christian McCaffrey, and before him you had Adrian Peterson. And then what? Maybe you throw Zeke in there, who just got cut by his own team. Who else?
I wouldn't even call him elite. He never really he was good, but he wasn't what the Cowboys thought they were getting.
So maybe I'm not putting my thoughts together.
I want to say
it's late.
You can say the same thing about
a rough couple days. So
well, I was just thinking you could say the same thing about Saquon Barkley as Ezekiel Elliott. They're good, but they weren't that generational running back that.
Well, Saquon couldn't stay healthy. That was his problem.
And that's a product.
I mean, the same with Christian McCaffrey. Wasn't he hurt 2 seasons ago or something like that?
Yeah, I think he missed at least 1 or 2 weeks.
You want to talk about, dude? Oh man, that was a bad point to make. You want to talk about fantasy football? Who the hell is Jonathan Taylor? That's shit. That's my exact point.
I mean, I rode Le'Veon Bell to a championship, so I can't complain.
If he keeps it up, Austin Eckler will be a household name, though.
Have you bought that Eckler jersey yet?
No, they didn't win the Super Bowl or win me a championship. So, all right, let's wrap up here.
All right. It's been a fun week of Guardians baseball. Am I allowed to say that? Can we actually say it was a fun week of Guardians baseball?
No, we just lost 2 out of 3.
It was a week of Guardians baseball.
It was fun beating the worst team in the league, I guess.
God. Yeah,
barely.
Let's try to end this on a positive note. One positive thing you think will happen by the time we go on the air next week, 7 days from now.
Bo Naylor is going to find his stride. At least in 1 or 2 games, or give me a homer. If he can give me a homer here in the next couple at bats, I think that'll also set me a little bit because I think that's what he's driving for. If you watch his at bats, the dude's swinging for the fences, and it's like, dog, I get it. But welcome to the Guardians. We don't need those home runs. Just give me hits. You can give me home runs, sure. And it was exactly like Hammy said on the air today. And I feel like it goes for both the Naylor brothers because Josh Naylor was up to bat in like the 10th or the 11th. And he goes, it's when Josh Naylor just doesn't try to do too much is when it all comes together for him. And I was like, yes. I completely agree. Yes. I 1000% agree. When the dude's just up there, just trying to all right, I'm gonna have a good at bat, not just trying to crank it, not swinging for the fences. Like he was swinging for the fences in that final out, and guess what? He struck out. And I think that's goes for him and Bo. I think it goes for both of them. I think Bo Naylor's still got a little bit of jitters. I think he settles down a little bit, and I think he gets like a 3-hit game, 2-3-hit game.
Okay. I like that. I'm going to go with a somewhat ridiculous prediction. I predict in the next 7 days, Jose Ramirez will have a 3-homer game.
Yeesh. He got close. That was his only, wasn't that his only 2-homer game ever?
No, I think he did have a 3-home game that run.
No. He just had a 2-home run game. Wasn't that his only 2-home run game ever?
No, I think
I thought they said it was his only. I thought they said it was his only multi-home run game ever.
I distinctly remember Jose having a 3-home run game.
We love you, Jose.
Yes, he did. He hit 3 home runs. It was including his 200th home run of his career.
Oh, was that 3?
Yep, June 8th.
Okay, well I thought he only hit 2 then.
So I'm saying he's going to do it again.
Shout out Jose Ramirez. You have been an absolute anchor for this team, and I think you go under the radar a lot because we're so concerned about all the other talent. I want you to understand that we're not concerned with your talent. You've done nothing but show us greatness. So I think he doesn't get as much love as he deserves because we're so concerned about Josh Bell doing good. We're so concerned about Josh Naylor doing good. We're so concerned about Bo coming up and doing good. We're so concerned about Gavin Williams doing better. We're so concerned about Tristan McKenzie getting better. We're so concerned about all of this. We're concerned about Clase keeping up his stuff. All this, and it just goes, no one ever stops to say, you know what, Jose? I'm not concerned about you because you've been doing your thing, and I really appreciate that.
You could argue Clase is probably going to be our all-star representative.
That's actually what I was going to say. I know Jose doesn't watch this, but on the off chance that he does, I just want you to know that we still love you, and I'm sorry we don't talk about you enough, but you mean a lot to this team. He's definitely the heart and soul of the team.
I feel like our producer should clip that and post that to the Believe Land page as a love letter to Jose Ramirez. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is the perfect way to end this week of Double Play CLE. For Jay, I'm Paul. We'll see you again soon.